Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer. He's on the East Coast. And we've got Friday NBA play-up props here for you guys with 10 games on the slate after a wonky Thursday where I don't know how anybody had a great night with like every game going into a complete blowout and being over somewhere near the first half. But we've got some better matchups, we think. Hopefully the NBA schedule makers will not have screwed us tonight like they have in the recent past, and we'll have a good night here. So follow along all season with us. We are bringing you these player props that we've got here, as well as best bets in a separate video, bringing you those each and every weekday this season. We also want you to head to thelines.com. We are putting up plenty of great content on the site right now. Also, NFL wildcard weekend and all that, right? Should probably talk about how we have a NFL player props video up as well for you guys. So check all that out. And I also want you to use the odds finder tool. This is a very important thing for me to tell you in the player props video here, so you can make sure that you're getting the best odds and juice available to you from all of these books giving us bets this season. We went 2-2 last night on the player props there, Nate. So let's definitely close it out with a winning week and kick it off with your first one.
Yeah, I'll go Desmond Bane under 34.5 points and assists, and this number is elevated because he scored 32 against Dallas last time out, right after Ja was announced out for the season. You know, he's only topped this number, I mean, in terms of just his scoring, which is 27.5. He's topped it twice against Dallas in his last 15 games without Ja. The other time, he had to play 40 minutes, had to take 25 shots in a gross low-scoring game against the Rockets. The road Rockets, I will add, who are much worse defensively on the road. Marcus Smart also out tonight. And while his usage rate is 3% higher without Smart this season, Bane averages pretty much the same points. He averages around 25 points per game, 4.8 assists, which is what he averages in over the last 3 seasons against the Clippers, 4.8 assists and 20 points, lower usage. And to me, this is like a bet on the Clippers defense being pretty good. Also the possibility that as -8 road favorites, they could just run away with this game and you don't get Bane down the stretch. Clippers are playing some of the best ball in the league, as we know, and particularly their last 8 since they were embarrassed by Boston without Kawhi. They are 7th in defensive rating. They are allowing the 3rd fewest points and 5th fewest assists overall. Also, same numbers against point guards specifically. And Bane now going to be asked to be on the ball much more with Smart and Morant out. And he's also going to be the focal point of Ty Lue's game plan, right? To say, like, let's stop him, which he clearly has done. 20 points per game in the last few seasons. The Clippers are allowing the fewest field goal attempts overall in that span because they're also playing at the slowest pace in the league on the road. 95.5 pace. So I just don't think there'll be a lot of opportunities here for people to go over in general in Memphis. I mean, maybe like the under for the game here, but I'll just take under on Bane while assuming like Jaren Jackson probably has a better individual matchup than Bane will against these wings.
Yeah, I don't know who's going to have a great matchup for Memphis. I mean, I would definitely continue to fade their points and not believe in what we saw against Dallas. That was a little bit of a rah-rah, do it for the Gipper kind of thing, if you want to consider Ja the Gipper. But now we're getting back into rustic, slow Memphis offense, like maybe the worst offense in the league, Memphis offense, without Ja Morant, slow pace, et cetera, right? Desmond Bane looked really, really good when Ja came back for a reason. He's not a point guard, and he's going to try to act like one at times. And I bet they miss Tyus Jones, but we'll move on to Atlanta. Jalen Johnson's props are the same, Nate, right? I literally like zoomed into the doc and was like, Jalen Johnson, before you could take it. I got it. Like I knew you were going for it. So over 25.5 PR, points and rebounds. It doesn't get any, it's been at 27.5. In not that long ago, and now it's 25.5, and they're playing the Pacers, and the Pacers give up the most points to power forwards, right? We do this all the time with a few teams in the league who, if you give up transition points, which is Jalen Johnson's in transition more than almost any other player in the whole league with frequency, right? Like it's like 38% of the time that he's in the game, he's in transition. So he's never just not running, first of all, and he's an incredible finisher around the rim with a roughly like almost 80% field goal percentage inside of 5 feet for Jalen Johnson since he came back from injury in the last 7 games rather. So like my man knows what he's doing when he gets to the rim, and he can leap and get there as much as anybody. So we'll take him for the points and the rebounds. He's gone over in 5 of 7 since he came back from that injury for a few weeks. The only 2 he went under was versus Orlando, which is obviously an incredibly solid interior defense and limits power forwards to the 7th fewest points per game. They also had a blowout loss blowout victory against the Hawks when they still, he's on the Hawks. They lost to the Pacers, is who they're playing tonight, and so they like got blown out by the Pacers like 115 to like 110 or 112, whatever. So he only played 26 minutes in that one. But his minutes in production, like I'm willing to say that this is the second best player on the Hawks. And if there's some big DeJounte Murray stands out there, I apologize for your feelings, but like this man is more important and better at basketball right now than DeJounte Murray, at least in what he does. That's my strong opinion. He's now in third in minutes and usage on the team. Bogey comes in, I will say, and gets a few more shots, but Bogey gets a few less minutes as well, which is why his usage is higher. But Jalen Johnson's not really losing shots to Bogey because they're not playing in the same spot at all. Like I said, third in minutes, he's now leading the team in rebounding. He's got the most rebound chances per game, and he has the most rebounds per game. So he's really just doing it all. And in part, it's because the Hawks are running so much that guys like Clint Capella aren't quite making it down the floor at times to be able to pick up maybe an offensive rebound or even hustle all the way back if on defense for a defensive rebound. So a lot of pace in this game for sure. I don't think a lot of like awesome offense for the Pacers, which is also why I love the rebound prop for Jalen Johnson at this point. It's at 8.5. He's averaging 11 since he's in the last 7, right? So like I'm very good with the rebounds, but I'm throwing the points in there too because the only time he hasn't gotten the points is, like I said, a blowout game. He only played 26, and against the Magic, that's where you don't score. Where he wants to go is where you don't score against the Magic. That's why Trey and DeJounte Murray torched the Magic the last time that they played them, and the last 2 times that they played them, because that's where you beat the Magic from, is the perimeter. So we're gonna go ahead and just follow the easy breadcrumb trail to Jalen Johnson being the dude to really light it up tonight for the Hawks.
Yeah, I'm glad you walked it back to say second most important player for the Hawks, because it is about fit. Like DeJounte Murray is a great player. He just doesn't fit very well next to Trey Young, and that's why he's probably going to be traded before the deadline, it seems like. But yeah, Johnson has been essential for them on both ends of the floor as a big who's able to run, and he's attacking the rim and getting to the free throw line, which is going to be huge against the Pacers, right? Do they still give up the most free throws per game?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
Oh,
points,
yeah.
rebounds, or just rebounds, assists. When you say 8.5 rebounds, I'm like, damn, we could tack on 3 assists there. And that's just a prop that has not failed for me in
Yeah.
this show.
Yeah.
And on Tuesday, I think when I missed both, I was like, why didn't I just take Jalen Johnson again? God damn it!
I know.
But
Yeah, and I do want to say the assists are there for him. It's wild he's getting assists, but yeah, the last point that you made about Jalen Johnson coming in, I actually already just forgot it. Is the rebounds, right? The opponent free throws. Yeah, he's going to get to the line a lot too because he's going to have some second chance points. That's also there against the Pacers, but yeah, they are the absolute worst team in limiting free throws.
right. All right, so Tobias Harris is the number 2 option for the Sixers here tonight as they host the Kings. Game total is about 242. So I'll take over 32.5 PRA. Give me a whole stat bundle for Harris tonight. I mean, his last 5 without Embiid, averaging 35 PRA, 23.5 points, 7 rebounds, 4.5 assists. His usage rate is 8% higher without Embiid versus with him. If you look at a 5-game sample, also playing 5 more minutes per game in those games because the Sixers aren't going to blow teams out when they don't have JoJo. That's much less likely. They're much more likely to get into these high-scoring affairs that we've seen recently, especially when you host a team like the Kings. This should be, a very good environment to get overs. His last 8 against the Kings, Tobias averaging 34 PRA. That might scare you a little bit. Look at his last 3 without Joel Embiid against the Kings. 39 PRA, 25 points, 10 rebounds, 5.7 assists. And those are skewed by when he was limited to 25 minutes last time out because he fouled out of the game. Otherwise, he has 29% usage rate. Having a lot of success against a Kings team that allows the 8th most points to power forwards. And throw in some rebound chance talk for Josh. Just his last game against Atlanta, 17 rebound chances.
That's a lot.
And only 20% of them were contested. So again, this kind of similar environment with the Kings where you get up and down, lots of shots going up, easy rebounds to grab. 13 field goal attempts on 16 drives. So when he's going to the basket with purpose, and then he had a 12.5% assist rate on those drives. So much more likely to put up stats is Harris when you don't have Joel Embiid as the hub of this Nick Nurse offense and getting all those dimes and whatnot. Harris is going to be counted on a lot more in terms of not just usage, not just putting the ball up, but doing it all.
Yeah, totally. I was looking at Toby as well, and like we probably incorrectly tried to sort of fade him at first and be like, it doesn't matter if Joel's playing. He hasn't done much, but the lack of James Harden this year has really made him that important when Joel's not in. And now he is someone that you can target with these props. It's going to continue to be around like 27.5, 28.5 points and rebounds until he goes under that again. And this is a good matchup for him to go over. So yeah, I support it. But let me close it out here with also just Sack. I don't know what's going on with them. They are weird right now, man. I've been watching their games and playing bad teams, playing all the way down to their comp, but also just not really even beating good teams right now. So they're going to need to pick it up. But let's close it out with Steph. I believe I can still get him because I hit it at under 27.5 points. And it is 26.5 now. I don't know if there's going to be any 27s left. Oh, no, there are. You can still get some 27s. Some books have a 26, but you can find a 27.5, and that's what I would take, points. And I know I've been hitting up the rebounds and assists for him as the under, but I've also been consistently using this strategy of if a point guard is playing Alex Caruso, then I'm going to go ahead and go under on the points and not worry about the assists or rebounds, because after the ball gets out of the point guard's hand, Alex Caruso doesn't really care. So Chicago is actually bad at limiting point guard assists and very good at the best at limiting point guard points because they're just playing that press D up on you. And Alex Caruso has one job when there's a guy like Steph on the floor opposite him, and it is chase him everywhere and bother him and do not let him score. That's it. And if there's a switch, you fight through the screen because we would always rather have you on it than Steph, right? And so Steph's going to get doubled the way that he does, right? Because Alex Caruso is not switching on screens. So when someone comes up and sets a screen for Steph, that doesn't mean Caruso's switching onto his guy. They're doubling Steph at that point, and now you've got an open man, and that's going to be the way that you continue to beat the Warriors. It was never there for you before because once Draymond Green got the ball in his hands on a 4-on-3 after you double Steph, you're toast, and you're just not toast anymore, especially without Draymond in there, and now without Chris Paul as well, which is what we've seen in the last two games. Without both those guys, not only can he not get it going, the team can't get anything going. And so the 28 points for him is like, look, at the end of the day, Steph goes Steph. And like I said, I'm hitting black until black runs out. Like, I'm not changing it. And so with Steph, I've got to go to it. There's going to be positive regression at some point. He's going to go off. I talked about it in the best bets video, but this ain't that moment for him. It's not against Alex Caruso and the Bulls, who, like I said, don't let people do this. Only Jalen Brunson has scored more than 27 points on the Bulls as a point guard in the last month of the season. And I'm sure I could go back even further, and it still would only be like less than a handful of guys who have done that when Caruso is in the game, because Rozier just went off because Kobe White was guarding him, right, when they played the Hornets. That was not an Alex Caruso game. So it's just wild how you see the random upticks in opposing point guard points, and then you're like, well, let me look at the game log. I'm almost positive Caruso wasn't in that game. And sure enough, usually that's the case. So I'm just going to continue to follow that. Like the assists for Steph and all that, I get it. It's at 37.5 PRA. But if he's not getting 38 PRA, it's because he's not getting 28 points, period. That end of story. He's not going to put up 20 points at rebounds, right? So we're not too worried about that. I'll just leave it out there, not try to get too cute, and just say he's not getting 28 tonight.
Yeah, it is also the front end of a back-to-back for the Warriors. They're at the Bucks tomorrow. So, I mean, if you want to take under on Steph in this matchup, be ready to fire the over tomorrow against Dame Lillard and company. And maybe the Warriors, they're certainly not going to have as much success on offense in this matchup as they will against the Bucks. I don't know if they'll pull the plug. Like, it'll probably be a low-scoring physical game. Yeah. But, yeah, not really an environment for Steph to go off. So I'll defer to you as our Warriors beat writer here as to when Steph's going to start breaking out of the slump.
Yeah, I don't know when it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be, you want to call it a slump. It's really just like, what's he supposed to do? He's playing 1-on-4, and it's pretty sad to watch at times. I think Kuminga's probably good. I just still cannot, because Kuminga's, you can get him 13.5 points, 14.5 in some places for better juice. And I just still don't trust Kerr's rotations enough to go. I only know at least Steph is going to play and Clay is going to play. And I don't really know, maybe Pajemski, but even he sometimes just comes out for other guys. It's matchup based, and Kuminga is a good matchup as an athletic dude who, will be able to handle Pat Williams for sure. So that's all the time we have for you in Best Bets. This is Play of Props here. We also have Best Bets up for you, though, in another video. So go ahead and check that out. Like and subscribe to that page. Have a great weekend betting. And until we see you next, happy betting.